So welcome to the next section of our tutorial. Now we're going to start making our facial features for our polar bear hat. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the nose, and for the nose we're going to still use the Red Heart Super Saver white yarn, and we will be using a little bit of black. This is also Red Heart Super Saver in black, and we are going to be using that to stitch on the nose on top of the muzzle. The muzzle part will be with the white. Okay, so starting off with that, the white yarn, we're going to have a start with a slip stitch. No, I'm sorry. Start with a slip knot and chain 2. 1, 2. Okay, it says to do 6 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. Okay, and that's going to end up being a circle. So we're going to do 6 single crochets in the second chain from the hook, which is actually the first chain that we did. So 1, 2, 3, and just work over our straggler. 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and it says to join. So we're going to join in the first single crochet that we made, which would be counting backwards. You can find it by doing that, counting backwards 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet that we made to join. Okay, and you can pull on that beginning tail a little bit if you want to tighten up the center part of that circle. Okay, so that was round 1. Round 2, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to double crochet 2 times in each stitch around. So we'll end up with 12. No, I'm sorry, not double crochets. We're doing single crochets now. So 2 single crochets in each stitch around. Okay, so we'll end up with 12 single crochets. So 2 in each one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so that is the end of round 2. And we're going to slip stitch into the first single crochet of that round. And if you have trouble finding which one of those it is, you can count back from your hook. You can count back 12 stitches. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're going to slip stitch into that stitch there, which is the first single crochet that we did on the round. Okay, so that is round 2. So we have 12 stitches now. Okay, round 3, we're going to chain 1, and then in the same stitch we're going to do 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2. Okay, and then we're going to do, in the next one, we're going to do just 1 single crochet, like that. And the next one we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. And the next one we'll just do 1 single crochet. So you keep alternating that around, 2 single crochets and then 1 single crochet, then 2 single crochets and then 1 single crochet, all the way around, and you keep doing that, and I will meet you up at the end of this round. Okay, so I finished that round, and now I have a total of 18 stitches around. So now we're going to slip stitch into the first single crochet that we did with slip stitch, and that completes our round. Okay, so now round 4 is just going to be chain 1, and then we're going to do 1 single crochet all the way around and then join it, and then chain 1 again, and then we're going to do it again, 1 single crochet all the way around and join. So that will be rows 4 and 5. We're going to do that. So we'll still have 18 stitches around. Okay, so go 2 times around with just a single crochet in each stitch, and I will meet you up when I get finished with the end, or at the end of round 5. So I just finished round 5, doing 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and now I'm going to join to my first single crochet with the slip stitch. Okay, so there's our nose, the muzzle part of the nose. Okay, so it says now we're going to cut off our yarn and we're going to weave in the ends. But, well, actually, I am going to cut off my yarn, fasten off, and I'm going to leave a tail to be able to sew the muzzle onto the hat. Okay, so I wanted to leave a pretty good sized tail. So chain 1 and then pull it all the way through and leave a tail so we can sew it on. Okay, so now the next part says, it says with black yarn and yarn needle. So let's get that. I'm going to use this other yarn needle that I have that's got a larger eye. I will use this small one when I sew on the buttons for the eyes, okay? And I'm going to get some black yarn, and it says to stitch a triangle in the middle of the nose and then fill in the triangle by stitching. Okay, so here's our muzzle. So I'm going to make a triangle. Like, okay, so this would be like the center of the nose. So I'm going to make a triangle where it's going to cover up that, okay? And you can go to creamofthecrochet.com where you get the written pattern, and I will put a link below in the description box where you can get this pattern, and you can refer to the picture in the pattern as far as the placement of the triangle and how much you want to stitch, okay? But it is a pretty big size nose the way they have it done. So let me get a good size length of black yarn for my stitching. Yarn my needle. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and stitch my triangle. Okay, so let's see. I think I want to go about right there. You try to get like the hole is in the center, okay? And so then I want to go across that direction, come down and go below the hole right there to form my triangle. So first you do the outline of your triangle. Oops. Okay, so I need to leave a tail to secure it, okay? And then I'm going to go across about right there, I guess, and get the top of my triangle stitched on. Okay, and then I'm going to go in the hole where I started. Oops, picked up my hook. Okay, and then I'm going to go down to where you want the bottom of your triangle. I'm going to say right there, right below the hole, the central hole there. Okay, so I'm just outlining my triangle where I want the nose to be. Go back up to that corner and then go down to the middle point. Okay, just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to keep stitching and I want to fill in this triangle that I created for my nose. I'll do a few stitches here to kind of get you started, and then I'll do the rest of it off camera. See, I'm just filling in that triangle. Okay. Just like that, see? I'm doing one more stitch. Just just like that. Okay, so continue stitching across, just doing a, I can't remember what you call that type of crochet. It's like an embroidery stitch, but anyway, you're a satin stitch. That's what they call. I think that's what they call it. Anyway, just keep making stitches like that and get your nose filled in. Okay, and I'll meet you back when I get that finished. Okay, so I finished stitching on my little triangle there for the end of my nose, and this is how I fasten it off. Okay, so here's the first, at the beginning tail when I started doing the stitching, and I'm just going to take my two ends and I'm going to go ahead and tie them off in a knot. And then I'm going to clip it. And I want to clip it kind of short because I don't want you to be able to see this black yarn where the white is. Okay. Now we're going to set this aside because I like to go ahead and get all my pieces done so I can look at my placement of where I want to put everything and then start sewing the pieces on. Okay, so let's go on to the next part, which will be the ears. Okay, so we start with a slip knot. We're going to use our white yarn and we're going to chain 2. 1 and 2, okay, and then we're going to do 5 single crochets in the second chain from the hook, so which is the first chain that you made. So we're going to do 5 single crochets in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then we're going to count back and find our 5th stitch, or the very first single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to join into that with a slip stitch. It's kind of fiddly because it's so small. Okay, so slip stitch. Okay, so that is round 1. So now we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch, so we'll end up with 10 stitches. So 2 single crochets in each one. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9, and 10. Okay, and now we're going to slip stitch in the very first single crochet of this round. Slip stitch to join. Okay, so that was round 2. Round 3 and 4, we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around, so we still have 10 stitches around. So we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and then join it, and then do it again. 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and then join it. So that's going to be for rounds 3 and rounds 4. So at the end of round 4, I will meet you back up. Okay, so I just finished round 4. Just doing 1 single crochet all the way around, still having 10 stitches around. Then I joined with a slip stitch the very first single crochet, and then I chained 1, and now we're going to do round 5. And so in round 5 it says to single crochet decrease all the way around. Okay, so we're going to do, right now we have 10 stitches. We're going to do a single crochet decrease all the way around, so that's going to end us up back with just 5 stitches. Okay, now I like to do my decreases like an invisible decrease, and what I do is, starting in that stitch that we slip stitched into, I'm going to insert my hook, but only in the front loop. If I can get my hook in there just a minute. It's kind of tight. Okay, so you put your hook into the front loop only of that single crochet, and then don't yarn over anything. Just go ahead and now go into the front loop of the next single crochet. Okay, now go ahead and yarn over and pull your yarn through, and then do a single crochet like regular. Okay, so that was one. Now the next one, we do the same thing. So insert a hook into the front loop of that single crochet, and then again into the front loop of the next single crochet, and now do a single crochet. That makes 2. Okay, insert a hook in the front loop only, and then in the front loop only of the next stitch, and single crochet. That was 3. Front loop only, and then front loop only, single crochet. 4. One more, front loop only, and single crochet. Okay, 5. And now we're going to join into the very first single crochet decrease that we did. See, that kind of closes off our ear. Okay, and that is it. So it says cut the yarn and fasten off, and then I'm going to leave a tail to sew my ear on. Okay, so chain 1 and pull it all the way through, pull it tight. Okay, and there's our ear. Okay, I like to manipulate the ear, kind of fold it over, not really fold it, kind of roll it, I guess, until where I get to my starting yarn is on the edge. Okay, now you need to go ahead and stop the video and make another one of these. You can rewind the video and make it again along with me, or you can refer to the written pattern on creamofthecropcrochet.com and make your ear, or make your second ear. Okay, and I've already made my second ear, so here you go. Okay, so now we have the beanie, and we have the nose, and we have the ears. Okay, and then of course we have the 2 black buttons that we're going to use for the eyes. And now it's just a matter of sewing everything on. Okay, so I'm going to get my yarn needle, and first I think I'm going to go ahead and place my ears. Okay, so I like to take my beanie and find where the back seam is, and it should be a pretty good seam where you can't really see it. I can see mine just a little bit, but at least it's straight up and down, so that's good. And I put that in the center. I like to put it in the center, and so that's going to be my center back of my beanie. So I turn it over, and I'm going to use this for my front. Okay, and I just flatten it. Okay, now when I take my ears, like I said, I kind of roll it around, roll it over so I can get it where the starting yarn is, or the yarn tail is on the edge. Okay, so I take this ear and then I get my other one and I do the same thing, make sure the yarn is over on the edge. Okay, and then I'm going to look at my beanie and place my ears on the top of the hat, kind of equal distant apart. So what I do is I just go by the the rounds. Okay, and I think I'm going to put mine, yeah, so this is round right here, that's round 1. Okay, this top circle right there, that's round 1. This is round 2, and then this is round 3. So I'm going to sew my ear between round 2 and round 3, okay, on both sides. That way they're still toward the top. In fact, it's actually going to be connected more onto round 2 than round 3. I might have a few stitches into round 3, but that way it's still kind of on the top of the head. Okay, and they're equal distant apart. And I think that'll look good there. So that's where I'm going to put them. So, okay, so I'm going to yarn my needle. Let's start with this ear. And since I have it folded, then I know that if I just pick up stitches right on the edge where I have it folded, that it should be even as far as on the side of the hat. Okay, so I'm going to just pick up stitches. I want to go down into the row 3 just a little bit. I'm just going to pick up some stitches on the edge there, pull my yarn up, and that's going to start placing my hat. Okay, so placing the ear on the hat. So now I'm going to go through the ear part, and I want to make sure I go through both thicknesses, the back and the front of the ear. Make sure I catch both of them. Okay, and then I want to go through the hat part again, and I'm just whip stitching it. Okay, then I'm going to go back through the ear, make sure I go through both thicknesses on the hat. Did I? Yeah, I caught it. Okay, and then now I'm going to go through the hat. Okay, so now you're going to do that all the way across. And a lot of times what I will do is I will do it one way, and then I will turn and I will go back down the other side of the hat, the ear, and I will end up where I started. That kind of reinforces it, I think. Okay, and then one more stitch through the ear, both thicknesses of the ear, to get the edge down good. See that? And then back through the hat again. Okay, so I've got that stitched on. I will probably go ahead, like I said, and continue on. I'm going to go back down this side to reinforce it really good. Okay, and then I will fasten this off, weave in my ends, and then I will get my other ear, and I will do exactly the same thing. I will put it in the same place on the other side, and I'll get that stitched down too. And then I will meet you back up when I finish stitching on both of the ears. Okay, so now I've got the ears sewn on, and now I'm going to put the sew on the muzzle. Now I go ahead and I yarn my needle, and I'm going to put the muzzle right above the bottom of the muzzle. I want it to be right above where the ribbing is. Yeah. Okay, so like about there. See that? Okay, right in the center of the between the ears, but I want the bottom of it to be right at the top of the ribbing. Okay, and then so the way I put my nose on, I made sure that this stitch was at the bottom center part of my muzzle, so that way I can that's where my starting stitch will be, right at the center bottom. Okay, so let's see. Make sure I got it even here. Yeah, so that's where I want to insert my hook. Not my hook, my needle, right in the center bottom. Okay, so now you can pin this on if you want to with pins, or you can just kind of hold it into place. I think I'm just going to kind of hold it. And I'm going to stitch this on, going through the bottom edge of the muzzle into the hat. Okay, and I'm just whip stitching it around. Now once I get a few stitches in here, I'm going to go ahead and put some filler. I'm going to actually use some of this white yarn from my scraps snippings, but I only picked out the white yarn because I want to make sure that it doesn't show through. Any of the colored yarn would show through. So I'm going to fill in my nose a little bit, stuff it, so that way it won't lose its shape and get mashed down. So I'm just going to secure my nose, the muzzle, onto my hat with a few stitches, and then I'm going to go ahead and start putting some of these yarn snips. Now you can use polyfill stuffing if you prefer. You can do that. I'm just trying to be frugal with my yarn and even using the snippings. Now I need to keep checking though to make sure that my nose is still kind of in the center area that I want it to be. Okay, yeah, it still looks good. Okay. Okay, so I've got a few stitches on there. See, I like to keep checking, make sure my nose is in the right spot. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some of these yarn snippings here and stuff it, just to help it keep its shape. You can definitely use fiberfill if you prefer, if you think it's easier or whatever. Okay, so just keep securing it down, okay? And then when you get around to the back, then you will bring your yarn, make sure your yarn is on the inside, and then you can go ahead and cut it off, well, weave in your ends and cut it off, okay? And I will meet you up when I get finished sewing this muzzle on. Okay, so I have my muzzle sewed on. Now all I have to do is sew on our eyes, sew on the eyes. And so what I did is I took some of my black yarn and I split it into half the strand. I think the strand has 4 strands that are twisted up together, and I just took the end and I split it. I separated it like that, and then I just split it down the middle. So I have 2 of the strands. And now I'm going to take my buttons and decide where I want to put them. You're going to put them above the nose, above the muzzle, and you want to put them about equal distance apart, and kind of down from the ears, the center, I mean the, not the, well, the front of the ear, no, the edge of the ear, the inside edge, I guess you'd say. And I'm going to put them on, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, on the row 4. When you count these circles here, okay, I'm going to put it on the 4th row, 1 on either side, and just stitch the buttons on, okay? So I'm going to hold that one with my thumb and bring up the yarn from underneath into the one of the buttonholes, but leave a tail in the big, you know, leave a tail of the starting yarn, so then you can knot it off when you get finished. And then I'm going to go ahead and just sew on the button. Okay, just like that. And I will go ahead and go through some more of the holes a few more times to secure it well, and then I will tie it off underneath and cut it off, okay? And then I will sew on the second button, and then we will be finished with our polar bear. So let me get those two, this button finished, and sew on the second one, and then I will meet you back up when we get finished, when I get finished. Okay, so I finished sewing on the eyes, and our hat is complete. So I hope you enjoyed this video, this tutorial. It was a very easy pattern to make. Please go over to the Cream of the Crop Crochet.com website, and there are they have many free patterns over there. I want to thank them for giving me permission to make this tutorial on this hat. And like I said, they have many really nice patterns, and they're all free. And they, besides baby hats, they have other accessory items. They have a shawl that I've really been looking at that I really want to make myself. And they have other scarves, and they have hats for adults, and ear warmers, headbands, all kinds of different things. So please go ahead and go over and check them out, and try out their patterns. I think you'll enjoy them. So thank you so much for following this tutorial, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.